Hey, what's up? It's Ryan, and I'm bringing you another Blender thing. I was working on something for a client the other day, uh, and he wanted something like this, or this is the finished product, rather, of what I ended up getting. Um, I thought it looked pretty cool, and I followed a Grayscale Gorilla tutorial to get it, but Grayscale is a Cinema 4D company, and obviously Blender. So I thought I'd go over like how I did it and just give like the Blender equivalent, in case anybody who's new can't like transfer over the ideas or whatever. But anyways, so first things first is I got this shape. I'll go over to a new layer to show you. I got this shape, something like this. Added a cube, subdivided it probably twice. Fractal along normal. Along normal makes it so you can't get any of these like intersections right here. So along normal, and then I subdivided it, or gave it a subsurf 3 times, applied it, and then decimated, and just went way down. So you get something like that, and as you can see, it's pretty close and similar. So that's how I got the shape. It's going to be a little bit random and different every time for everybody, just because fractal isn't necessarily the most uniform, consistent thing in the world. So yeah. So next thing I did was, so for this, like this little thing in the middle actually doesn't have any color. It's completely clear. It's just taking the color from like around it and bouncing it around inside of the like containing area, aka this little subdivided cube. So first you need to find something that has a general color scheme of what you want your thing to have. For this I used, let me find it. I used this thing, which is just a piece I made a little bit ago. I took it into Photoshop and I put Gaussian blur on it, and it basically just turned it into actually this, like the super sharp detail, blurred it, and that was just kind of like a blob of color. But that's exactly what I wanted, this like blue and red. So yeah, next thing you do is you take it and you put that like color scheme texture, I guess you could call it, as an environment texture into your background. And this was to taste. Like without it, I had to dim the highs, just because without it, obviously, this is a little much. So I had to use some curves on the environment texture. This is just to rotate it around to where I want. If you have the Wrangler nodes add-on, you can hit Control T like this. Just Control T, and then it pops up, and then you can like rotate it and scale it and all the rest. And I also had to dim the strength of the background just a little bit, just because at 1 it was a little much. And I knew I could fix the lighting in post really easy. So yeah, the actual material, the thing that actually matters, right here. It's arguably the most simple thing ever. So at first I just threw in, because in cinema there was like a really easy way around this, but if you only have the refraction, then you get a bunch of weird spots where it's just black, and obviously this looks like garbage. You don't want that. So I added a glass node to make it like 100% clear and transparent. Not transparent, but I made it glass, and then the refraction got added on top of that, and it took the environment around it and like put it through the glass and made this sort of color scheme. I set the roughness to 0 on both of them, switched them to sharp, and the IOR right here I put to 4.86 for some reason. I forget what it looked like at default. It looks like that at default. So I didn't like that because obviously just did not fit the style that I was going for. And yeah, so that's the material. And in case you're wondering about render settings or whatever, as you can see, like I have the preview on to 6,000. That's not like a normal thing. I usually have it at like 64, but I was just trying to see where it starts like degraining. Because right here you can see there's like a lot of noise and a lot of grain because it's doing the refraction and the glass and everything. So my render settings, also the person I was working for wanted at 3,000 by 3,000, so that was fun. But I have the render at 3,500, and that works perfectly fine, especially because I knew I was going to dirty it up. And the final right here, I was going to dirty it up a little bit, and I added noise on top of that, but it's super slight. So I just wanted like a clean image to start working with, you know. But yeah, that's what I did there. Compositing. I don't have a render to use right now, so but I just did some simple color balance towards the blues, the reds, and then this one stayed the same. Glare, which honestly did just about nothing, and then I boosted the brightness just a little bit, and that's it. And I guess I can show you the Photoshop file while we're at it, in case you're wondering how to get the extra effects. So yeah, Solid and Motive by Funk Chunk Records. That's the people who wanted this done. So that's just text. And that's just their logo. I've got a rectangle around it, pretty easy set on overlay, so it's not just like, so it kind of blends with the background. I've got a brightness thing that's doing a brightness contrast adjustment layer. That's the word. It's doing just about nothing. Got a curves, which is doing a little more. I'm just taking down the lows a little bit. I've got a color balance, which again isn't doing a whole ton, but it's doing enough. It's basically just pushing the blues a little bit. And then I've got this, let's solo it. I've got this texture that I found. How do I do this? What in the world? Let me try this. Alright, am I an idiot? I think I might be an idiot. Got it's something like this. Like, I found this sort of texture. It's not this one, I don't think. But I found this sort of texture online, and then I just kind of put it on top of everything. And now everything is hidden. I just kind of put it on top of everything, put it on overlay, and then it like affected the contrast massively, and also added all these like grains and spots and scratches, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted a little bit of like a beaten up look, and it gave me that perfectly. So yeah, that's how you make low poly refraction art in Blender. Huge shout out to the Grayscale Gorilla guys for making the original tutorial that I got to follow and just kind of piece together in Blender. Hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe, like, comment if you have any questions. And wait a second. I think I might have had, yeah, I boosted the exposure and the gamma and set it to a different camera. Just a little bit. There's just a little bit of color management going on. All right, just have to make sure I didn't forget that, because this affects everything like massively. But yeah, subscribe, like, comment, do all that jazz, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.